All right, we are live on every single platform you can imagine, except for Instagram.
Live to the world. There you go. All right. Put this up here. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Cup of Coffee podcast. This is episode 7 on the Prospect Dugout Network. I am your host, Craig Maddox, along with my co host and partner, Joel Hartman. You can follow him at Hardy02 on Instagram and TikTok. Always got to give you the plug.
Yo, y'all missing out if you ain't following me on TikTok. That's all I am saying.
Thanks for everybody who's tuning in and watching this live. And if you can't watch it live or you got to jump, make sure you check us out on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and you can catch the whole episode there. So we always touch on things in Major League Baseball. Not a ton of news to report. I would say the vibe is getting less and less likely that we're going to have baseball in 2020 on the major league level. It's getting pretty ugly, but shifting gears a little bit, we do want to talk about what Prospect Dugout is as a core in everything we do. So we have our masterminds on Sunday nights. We have our kicking it with your boy Swish on Tuesdays, and those are really geared towards the collegiate athlete or the high school athlete. And we just want to touch on briefly today the state of baseball going forward for these guys, not the professional guy, the guy who's looking to continue his career. So whether that be a high school guy going into college, a college guy going into pro ball, I think we can both agree that things are getting a lot more difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's good because we've had discussions. I've had discussions with people with the San Francisco Giants organization that really competition is gonna breed competition,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think over the course of just there being a ton of minor league teams and a ton of opportunities that maybe, and I might be the only one who's saying this, maybe the sport of baseball is getting a little bit watered down.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's why there's been a lot of lost interest in baseball, is because it's kind of too easy. Yes, we're on the cup of coffee and Joel's drinking orange juice.
Dude,
That's fine. No offense.
no, it's been 2 weeks since I've drank coffee.
How are we supposed to have the cup of coffee podcast? We're gonna have to
I'm
change the whole name of the
I'm
podcast.
doing it for health reasons. I'm seeing if it affects my diet or whatever you want to call it.
Well,
And my energy levels.
I drink coffee for health reasons because I would be miserable if I didn't. So it is for health.
Yo,
But
so
go ahead.
with the announcement of got all these emails, obviously because Lucas is in the recruiting, well, was in the recruiting game. Been getting all these emails about, oh, the recruiting calendar pushed back. D1 guys can't come out. And I'm getting all these emails from all these different showcases and events talking about these things that they're having. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why would I go to it if I'm a player that is not a D1 commit, is not a D1 prospect, right? They will benefit from going to those because they, even though the college coaches won't be there, those are the upper echelon type players. Those are the players where their recorded stats and their recorded video is actually worthwhile, because those are the players that those college coaches are looking for. I'm talking about for a player that's a little bit on the average side, where he's not committed and where he doesn't really have coaches following him around. Why would I want to spend money to go to something where a coach can't see my intangibles? A coach can't see, you know, what my reaction is to a bad at bat. I can't show how I respond after, getting a base hit or giving up a hit or striking a guy out with the bases loaded. There's no way to show that through the platform that's being provided right now, which is I'm getting email invites to go to this showcase, to go to this event, to go to this, to go to this. And it's not even from colleges, it's from organizations that are boasting, we're going to put you in front of all these colleges, but they're not saying that their college coaches aren't going to be there. I'm not seeing that. So like they're really starting to target the online side of things, and that's where we are. That's why we started the whole Prospect Dugout idea in 2015, was for the exact purpose that's going on right now. There's no college coaches out there watching you. How are you going to get seen? You can't rely on Perfect Game or Prospect Wire, Prospect Select, Prep Baseball Report to collect your data for you, to type it out correctly, to put all your information on that web page that they create for you correctly, and then to update on a routine basis with your photos and videos. You can't get that stuff updated on a routine basis because you're not going back to their events on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. It might be once or twice a year that you're going to their event. Or if you go to 5 or 6 Perfect Game events, how much are you going to spend to get 5 or 6 updates throughout the year? Right. So we're starting to see a trend in the online thing. And that's where we've really hit hard at the beginning, was showing players how to promote themselves using social media. We've always gotten pushback from parents and from, old school type people. Oh, stay away from social media, this and that. And it's like, you're literally going to work and using computers, using social media, using the internet for your job to help function your job. But then you want to tell your student athlete who's trying to make a name for himself, like, you use the internet to advertise your business. You use Google search to get customers. You use YouTube ads and Facebook ads to get customers. Why would you not, if your business that you work for and get your living from is using that method to sell more of their product and get their name out there, why would you not want your student athlete to be on that same platform? I think the common uh, fallback point is, oh, if they post something bad, it could hurt their chances. Well, here's a news flash, mom and dad. If your child is going to post something questionable anyway, that there's a bigger problem than him using social media, right? So Gary Vee always says social media doesn't change you, it just reveals who you are. Like, everything that's going on in the world today didn't just start happening. It's been happening. It's just now more people can see what's going on. So if we're smart, if we are uh, really looking at the trends and trying to figure out how we can better ourselves instead of seeing a situation, complaining about it, and being complacent, we can say, okay, let me look at what this recruiting agency and what this showcase service is doing. What are they doing? This is what they're promoting. This is what they're trying to do. Why do I have to go and spend $600 to go there and do it one time when I can do it for free on my own on a daily basis? Right. And so that's where what I'm seeing is the state of the recruiting world, with everything getting pushed back to August 1st, is the initiative now becomes, do players have what it takes to go out there when there's no team practices? Do players have what it takes to go out there and get better and push themselves when there's nobody watching? Do players have what it takes to be consistent and get their work in on a daily basis when they're tempted to just stay inside in the air conditioning because it's hot outside and they're not playing for anything? Um, are these athletes, are these student athletes, are these parents, are you guys ready to commit to taking photos and videos on a daily basis when you're training and uploading them? Just start a new Instagram account if you want to, right? If you want to play it simple, play it safe, start an Instagram account with your player's name and his grad year, use the bio section to talk about who he is, and then you can upload photos to, the Instagram world, right? Photos and videos. Or you can come over to Prospect Dugout and download our app, fill out your bio, update your pitching velocity, your throwing, your 60-yard dash, your home to first time, your exit velocity, all these things whenever you want to, because you've got a camera and you can go ahead and prove that and attach that number to a specific video in your album and show your highlights. Like, you're going to all these showcases now during the summer and there's no college coaches there. Why? There's one reason why you're going to a college showcase is because you want to get seen. Okay, but why are you going to a college showcase to get seen if there's no college coaches there? So to me, we have to be smarter than that. We have to learn, we have to adapt, we have to pay attention. You cannot become better at anything that you're doing if you do not take in outside sources of information. You do not have to agree with it. You do not have to accept that information. But I heard Kevin Hart saying this on the Joe Rogan podcast. If I hear what this person is saying and that person is saying, and this person is saying, and that person is saying, guess what? All that knowledge and that information is now inside my head, and I can do with it what I wish. So I can take something, I looked at it, that doesn't really make sense. I'll get rid of it. Ooh, I like that. Let me adjust how I am acting, how I am thinking, how I am doing things. So let me think about it for a second. If these recruiting services, if these college showcase organizations are saying, hey, we're going to offer a virtual showcase beforehand, or we're going to, record your stats and this and that. Why would you not want to do that for yourself on a much lower scale? Someone like a Perfect Game or a Prospect Wire is doing it for thousands and thousands of players. Well, why can't you just do it for yourself, which is going to the field, buying a radar gun, invest. If you go to a $600 showcase 3 times, it's $1,800 in the year, right? So let me see what I can do with $1,800 in baseball equipment to help promote myself.
A
1,800 bucks.
ton.
I can buy a stalker for 1,100 bucks, stalker radar for
You
eleven
can
hundred
buy
bucks,
Rapsodo.
and
You
still
could
have
buy
700 bucks left over. So
you
the
can
point
buy a
is,
pitch logic baseball. Like
that's
you could
it.
be decked out with data and then be able to see the progress in your data without having to continue to spend money. So I think the two things that I want to kind of bounce off you is first, are these showcases, I don't get the emails. You have a son who's in the space. So these emails are saying that these colleges are going to be there. Is that correct?
There's some that are advertising that there's college coaches going to be there, but they're not saying that D1 coaches can't be in attendance.
Right, right. So
They'll base it off of what they've gotten in the past to
mhm,
advertise that we've had these coaches here before. But then when
right,
you read the fine print or you go to that page and you realize that, hey, none of those coaches can be there, A, because the NCAA recruiting rules, and B, because they're just not there.
right. So I would tell parents and players out there, I've seen the emails. You forwarded me the emails
Mhm.
that your son gets. They're good. They're going to make you feel good about yourself. They're going to make you feel like you're the only kid in the world that's getting this email. The reality is it's not. So you need to do your due diligence as a player and as a parent
Mhm.
and say, well, they're saying XYZ University is going to be there. The NCAA saying that they can't be there. I don't care what organization you are. You're not bigger than the NCAA. So if you think so by some offhand chance that this university is going to be there just because they are above the rules, it's not. So I think we're coming out just to say, just do your due diligence because there's opportunity out there. And I read an article the other day with the Texas Tech coach saying that this quarantine COVID era has really opened their eyes to getting on social media and looking for players because they couldn't do that before. And you know what? Texas Tech was big enough where they didn't have to do that. But now they are opening their eyes to, and we talk about it all the time uh, on all of our shows about we're here at Prospect Dugout to save college coaches time. And college coaches that maybe have been a little old school on adopting social media are now saying, hey, this could be a very valuable tool
Mhm.
to free up some of my time so I'm not staying old school. Like these college coaches are adapting. And your question to the players, are you adapting or are you changing with the times, or are you just sticking with the status quo and just saying, well, I'm going to go to this showcase and that showcase and I'm just going to get signed? It's it's going to be so much bigger than
First off, you ain't
just
going to a
that.
showcase and getting signed. Period. You ain't going to a showcase and saying, "Ooh, I'm going to the showcase and getting signed." If that's your mindset going to a showcase, then you're wrong, because you can't just go one time. Like, baseball's not a sport where, ooh, he just went 3 for 4 or 5 for 5 or whatever, I'm picking him up. He's awesome. No, not even close. I need to see this guy play over 7, 10 games to see. I want to see a streak, man. I want to see him go through a hitting streak. I want to see him go through a hitless streak. I want to see, how he. So these college coaches aren't coming to see you one time. They're coming because they've already know who they're coming to watch. They're not just showing up and saying, "Hey, let me see who's on this field." No,
Yeah.
not even close.
Who's going
That's
to impress me today? Oh,
first of all, if that is what you're thinking, that a coach is just going to show up and find you, no. Okay, they're there looking for a specific person. So here's something that you need to. I don't know. This is something I just thought of when you're looking at your game schedule, right? And you're looking at the other team and seeing the players that are there. Check them out. See if that's a team that has players where there's probably going to be MLB scouts there, or there's probably going to be, college D1 scouts there. Look that up, find out that information. If you know that, hey, Irv Carter's pitching over here on this game that I'm playing against, well, there's going to be a ton of MLB scouts there. There's going to be even though he's already committed D1, there's going to be a ton of D1 guys there, because they want to see, okay, Irv's on this team and he's already, big time status going here. Who else is on his team? Let me see what else they've got, right? So you got to put yourself in a position to say, hey, number one, nobody knows who I am. That's why I'm going to a college showcase. Okay. So we can parallel universe that and say, okay, I'm going to a college showcase to get seen so people know my name. Why can't I take that same thought process and say, I'm going to go online, put my name out there so people can know who I am and I can get seen? You know, Craig, you were just talking about, D1 coaches and the convenience of them. Well, we were talking a couple weeks ago about putting together a free showcase for all these high school players that have missed out on stuff. So we're going to put something together locally. That's in the works. It's going to be announced soon, but it's going to be led by Nick Swisher, right? And so when we had the idea, he said, I don't know, let me go find out if this makes sense to a college coach. So he calls up head coach at OSU. He calls up the head coach at University of Texas and explains what we're going to do. We're going to bring in, a small group of guys just to test this concept, right? Small group of guys. We're going to live stream it. We're gonna video all their swings, the bullpens, get radar. Rapsodo is going to be there. Pitch Logic's going to be there. So many things going on. And he said to him, he said, if I got all this information and got all these players together and live stream it so you could watch it, what would you think? And he said both of those coaches, the Ohio State head coach and the University of Texas head coach, said, we're all in. We're definitely on board for that, because that's exactly what we need right now, because we can't do anything. But Swish, if you could do me a favor, if you could make sure that I could see as much data as possible, then that would be great. So number one, they want to find new players, right? But number two, they need to see data to back it up. So right there, that's telling me there's a shift, right? There's a shift in, it's not just about going and seeing and watching a player play. Now coaches are evolving and saying, okay, I want to see data beyond it, right? So it's not just, I'm just going to go find data, and it's not just, I'm going to go find the player that looks the best. It's both. You could be looking through scouting reports and see this data and say, whoa, this kid's got these numbers and he's a little bit undersized. Maybe he can compete. Maybe he's got some intangibles that these guys that are 6'3", 215 don't have, right? Because their numbers, they can throw 96, but their strikeout to walk ratio is higher, or lower. Their on base percentage against is higher than yours, and they don't control the game like you do. But you throw 88 and they throw 96, but there's those intangibles. College coaches are using that data. But then on the other hand, don't expect a college coach to just show up and see you one time and then want to go recruit you. They're going to see you one time and say, okay, who is this kid, right? And then they're going to go on and go about their business. They're not going to stop what they're doing. They're going to write down your name, and then when they get back to the hotel later, they're going to look you up and see and say, okay, he's got this, he's got this. All right, next time I go out, if he's maybe he'll be there or whatever. And that starts the process. So if you're going to a showcase and you're thinking, ooh, I'm going to go to a showcase and get signed or get recruited, that's wrong. So that's why it's important to, if you do go to these showcases, pick and choose the right ones. Pick and choose the ones where it's going to be the right college coaches for you. If you're a D2 player, if you're 5'7", 145 pounds, you're not going to the University of Florida. So you don't need to worry about where coaches, FSU, Texas. You don't need to worry about where those guys are. You need to worry about the colleges that you can come on, you can go to and have an impact, right? So if you do get seen at a showcase, they're going to look at more than just that one day's results. So get that out of your mind that you're going to show up and get recruited. Get into your mind that you're going to show up and you're going to play hard, because that's what's going to get you noticed at an event like that, right? If you're not a big name, they're not there to see you. If you're around a big name, then you definitely want to be on the top of your game, paying attention, not throwing your bat after striking out. Craig, what did we talk about a couple weeks ago on our recruiting mastermind with the two D1 college coaches on our program? Said that they care more about how a player reacts to striking out. They don't even care about the strikeout, because at the end of the day, you're going to strike out a lot. You're gonna get out a lot. So if you're weighing your whole college career opportunity at a showcase off of one at bat, you're putting pressure on yourself. You're being misguided. You're being misinformed. It's an illusion. Do not. When would you ever go into a baseball game and say, I have to get a hit right here. I have to get a hit right here. If I don't, my life's over, right? You go into a baseball game thinking 1 for 3, that's a great day for me. 2 for 3, oh baby, right? Or 3 for 10 over the weekend. Like, it sucks to go 3 for 10, but like that's still over 300. So it's like you have to go into it with the right mindset. And so I think, Craig, what you were
Yeah.
talking about with convenience for the college coaches, but then also just don't have the mindset that it's going to all happen after. I mean, we've been doing this for
Right.
5 years and things are starting to build. We're doing, some instructional series drills and things like that. It takes some time, but you have to plant those seeds.
Yeah. To your point, and wrapping this up, to your point, one at bat will not dictate your recruiting. On the performance side, I think that's one thing that we should get through to everybody who's listening and watching. On the performance side, but one at bat can dictate your college recruiting on the emotional side. So if you strike out, college coaches realize that's going to happen an
Mm-hmm.
awful lot,
Mm-hmm.
especially going up to the collegiate level. If you handle yourself like a professional and take the strikeout, learn from it, utilize it, use it as a learning tool to get better for your next at bat, that's not going to dictate if you get recruited in college. If you take one strikeout, throw your helmet down, talk back to the umpire, throw your bat when you get in the dugout, walk down to the end of the dugout, sit and sulk, that might affect your college recruiting. So think about that as college coaches are watching how you react,
Mm-hmm.
because we say it and we'll say it again. We say it on our masterminds when we have college coaches on there talking about recruiting. Like, the college coach has to like you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm such a firm believer in that. And college coaches, you know, won't tell you that to your face, but they gotta like you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably not why.
Yeah, they're
That's probably
building a
why.
team.
Yeah, that's probably why you're not getting recruited, and XYZ player is.
And another
So
thing that I see all the time on Twitter for those parents that are watching right now, um, a lot of things I see on Twitter from college coaches is that, I saw one the other day. I saw this kid that thought it would be a great fit for a program that a buddy of mine runs, sent him a text, tell him to go look at it. And then after the game, I called him and said, never mind. I saw his parents in the stands.
I saw that. So yeah, exactly. I know all the parents listening out there. You want your kid to be perfect,
If you
but
want your kid to be perfect, then leave him alone.
right. And just remember who's sitting next to you in the stands. You might not even know, but you might be hurting your kid's opportunity because of how you're reacting. So, uh, good topic. So much more in the tank in that topic. way more in the tank in that topic. So if you want to get more, make sure you join us on our masterminds. We bring in college coaches from across the country and dive deep into these subjects. So for episode 7, we are on episode 7 of the Cup of Coffee podcast. I am your host, Craig Maddox,
7.
with my co-host at Hardy02 on Instagram and TikTok. We will see you guys next week.
Peace.